request to the support team.
That's part of what Clubhouse is about, Joe. Is
uncomfortable silence.
Yeah, it does get, it's pretty interesting. People kind of sit with it and it kind of works. But it's kind of it's something that we're all kind of learning as we build the thing. So when I moved up to I grew up in Southern California. When I moved up to Southern California, I didn't own a waterproof jacket. I didn't own a jacket. I didn't own anything waterproof. So it's all kind of what you're used to, you know?
This is a oddly compelling app.
Thank you.
I'm really annoyed that I got lured into this bullshit.
You know where that line is. You know where else I've heard that line is.
I know answers.
The problem is I fucking talk too much publicly as it is. Oh my God, Brett Weinstein just joined.
Oh yeah, bring him up.
Where's Brett? I saw it. It showed up at the top of the app. There's too many fucking people in this room, man. I can't find anybody.
That's your fault. That's not my fault.
Okay, everybody clear out. The room's over. Clear out.
So how do I find?
If you tap the three dots and
I just brought up Brett.
Oh, perfect.
Hey Joe,
Hey,
good to see you.
Hey
everybody.
What's up, buddy?
Jesus, we're all about to get canceled as the intellectual dark web.
Listen, that cancel shit does not work if we all just stick together.
Get Jordan Peterson up here. Where's JP?
Yeah,
we can all get together.
He can only come on if his daughter comes on too. It's a package deal.
Hold on. Is he on the app? I don't know. I'm gonna see if we can ping him.
No,
I'm kidding.
He's
busy. He's busy eating meat and salt and lecturing somebody.
He's too intense. He doesn't have time for this bullshit.
He is very serious.
You know, I'm trying to get on the app actually. So I've been, hopefully not making any news, and maybe I need to talk to Paul about this. But I've been talking to Elon and the Kremlin because Elon and his
I saw his tweet about that.
Yes. Paul, I don't know if you know who I am, but I happen to be Russian, and I am very interested in talking separately on a podcast with Putin.
Yeah, you got a hard-on for Putin, bro. We talked about it on the podcast.
It's not a hard-on. It's
a weird Russision thing. You like dictators. It's cool.
I'm fascinated by dictators. I don't like them. There's a difference.
There's a power fetish.
I'm trying to marry one, Lex. If you want to introduce us, that'd be great. Thank you.
So, Lex, are you trying to get Putin on the app? Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, no. Elon wants to get Putin on the app, and Putin, I mean, I don't want to say too much, but the Kremlin doesn't know what the hell this app even is. And they're actually uncomfortable with the whole idea of even any kind of remote thing that they don't drive. So getting Putin on the Clubhouse app would be like I would have to be in Russia, and so I don't know. I don't know if I can make it happen, but I'm being pressured from all sides, and I'd love to make it happen because one of the compelling things about this app is you can have just these absurd magical moments where somebody like an Elon Musk and a Vladimir Putin with a translator can just be in the same room together and having a conversation. And then without any restrictions, Elon can be his usual crazy self and ask basically any kind of crazy question as he did of Vlad, the CEO.
The other Vlad.
Right? The other Vlad. He has a good track record with the Vlads.
Are any of these people fake, or like are there any bots like there are on Instagram? Like my boyfriend doesn't think I'm hot, like that kind of stuff. Do they have those?
It's,
like
no,
don't look in my stories. LOL.
It is a real identity service. The phone number auth. So like, so yeah. The other thing is it's your voice, right? So it's kind of you can't even have a social media manager manage it, right? It's you,
right? But the picture that you use doesn't have to really be you, and the phone number could just be some burner phone, and you could just decide your name is Natasha, and you have this like pouty lip face, and you want to talk about don't look at my stories. How do I delete something?
Yeah, I don't think you'll find much of. Yeah, I don't think you'll find much of that. Like most people who are public figures off their Instagram or their Twitter, and that kind of serves as it makes it so you don't really need to have a blue check mark service or anything like that.
I'm just bringing that up because I'm looking at ways that people could exploit this, like where weird things can happen inside this app that are, don't make
The
sense.
exploitation.
Well, just bring
The exploitation doesn't really come from fake accounts following people. The difference here is that you have to be invited to speak. And when you're invited to speak, you better have something interesting to say, or people will leave. So it's not like Twitter where anyone can barge into anyone's conversation with a fake account and leave an automated post. It's much, much harder to fake anything in this app, and the returns to doing it are very low. And it's, as Paul said, it's real names, real phone numbers, and then also linked to your Twitter and Instagram. So the problems that are going to emerge from this app will be its own unique problems, right? Like there might be demagogues on here who are saying things that maybe some people may object to, or people getting canceled because they were talking a little too freely and they thought it was private, but it's not, or they thought it was ephemeral, but it's not. But it's not going to be. It's not going to be like it's not the same attack vector. It's not bots dropping into your social media mentions, right? But it may be someone who has something really incendiary to say. Like if you look historically, a lot of the wars and like attacks and so on that were triggered through talk radio, right? Hitler grew up on talk radio. The Rwandan genocide was done by talk radio, right? Even in the US, when you see like fringe characters, they're more likely to appear in talk radio than any other medium. So that's kind of more the failure vector. It's not the bots.
Well, you sound like a spokesperson for the opposition. Hey, Paul, how do you feel about unfettered conversations? Are they bad? I didn't even know what an unfettered conversation was until about 4 hours ago.
So one thing that I really that I get really excited about is the idea of bringing people who have really different opinions and backgrounds and experiences in a room to talk through stuff, right? So I think like because of the reality of the fact that most people live near people that are pretty similar to them and work with people who are pretty similar to them, you don't often get a chance to be in the room with people that have a totally different view on the world and a totally different set of experiences, and I love the idea that we can make it really easy for anyone, no matter where they are, to sort of be in the room and have those conversations. So it's actually like part of what we want to do is bring people who disagree and have different perspectives together. You obviously want them to do it in a respectful way, though.
Are you afraid that once people with Androids join, sorry, Naval, are you afraid that once people with Android join, all the degenerates like me, pour into the app?
That is an absurd statement.
I love Android.
We're so excited. No, we're so excited to launch an Android. Are you kidding? Like we want to make it available to everyone, though. The only reason we haven't done that is because we've historically been a pretty small team, and no, we're working to get it out on Android as fast as we can. The thing we think about a lot is scaling intimacy, right? And how do you go from a single community of beta testers to a big global network of many different communities? And I think the room is this really flexible container, right? The club is a really flexible container. So if you can empower people as hosts, as moderators, as sort of admins of these clubs to gather the people that they want to gather and set the tone that they want to set, then you could have, like right now, there are thousands and thousands of rooms going on all over the world, and they're all different, from like small 2-3 person private conversations to big rooms like this that are maxed out on capacity to all these mid-sized rooms where they're talking about crypto and philosophy and sports and parenting and any topic you can imagine. Like, I think that's how you scale it, right? You let people set the boundaries they want to set.
Mostly they're talking about what they had for lunch, but yeah, those are nice too.
Well, there are very different cultures, and the danger I see here is when the cultures mix, the ground rules are very unclear. And I've seen conversations go haywire. I've seen them go to very interesting places, but somehow I think the rules that are posted at the entry to a conversation are going to have to play a big role at some point. Otherwise, it's not clear how it goes on.
Yeah, that said, I find the conversations here much more civil. I mean, Twitter is an excerpting machine where people take what you said out of context and flame you over it, right? And that's harder to do here.
Right, and it's also like there's a real problem with speaking in text. Like intention is missing, tone is missing, context is missing. Like at least information that's being exchanged in this form, like you get a kind of clear sense if someone's joking or fucking around. It's you have to be a real asshole to take this and put it in quotes and take things out of context. And at least 7,000 people are going to know you're a piece of shit.
Or you'd have to be a New York Times reporter, but we digress.
That's what I just said.
Right. But like as an example, like imagine that you could only communicate with your spouse over text, right? You'd be divorced within a week. So it's if you want emotion
perfect.
and you, yeah, if you want emotion and nuance, then the human voice is the most natural medium. And humans have been like organizing in small groups and chatting with each other since we came down from the trees, and that's really what Clubhouse enables, which is why I personally think this will be the largest social network.
Yeah, that's what you're telling me over the phone, and I didn't get it until I got on it. And now I'm like, damn, this is a real problem. How many people can be in a room at one time?
The other thing that I think is interesting is if without video, you don't have to worry about what you look like. You don't have to worry about how messy your house is, and you can also multitask.
Right, you can lie.
Joe, you don't have to do your hair.
Oh, sweetie.
You can just have a cartoon avatar that makes you look way younger than you actually are.
How many people can be in a room at once?
So we want it to be infinite. It was 5,000 a few days ago. Now we upped it to 7,000. But the goal is to have it be millions.
Infinite, Jesus. This is 7,000. We're at
7,000. That's the max we allow. So you've maxed it out.
Oh, okay. Has this ever happened before? Have you been maxed out before?
We have been. It doesn't happen too often, but yeah. Like when Elon came on, that maxed it out. Zuck came on like a week or so ago, and that maxed it out.
Hey, for the record, I
Naval could probably max out a room. Eric could probably max out a room.
I just wanted to match Elon and then go out on top.
Oh yeah, you did actually. I bet Leah could max out a room.
Thanks a lot.
The maxing definitely helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are also multiple overflow rooms right now, Joe. So it's 7,100 people in here, but then there are probably thousands of other people listening in other rooms.
How do they do that?
Like 2 tin cups attached by a string, basically. So like someone is in the audience in this room and then plugging it into another device and just going from device to device, listening in another room, basically.
What?
Like a live broadcast. Yeah.
Oh my God, this is madness.
That's the demand. That's the demand for this thing.
Jamie is showing me this now. Oh Jesus.
Yeah, like here's a question, Joe. You got into podcasting right at the beginning, right? Now, did you get into podcasting because that was the ideal medium where you had pre-recorded conversations, or were you originally trying to stream? Because if I remember correctly, you were on Ustream before you were podcasting, correct? So you were actually trying to stream live, and that's what this is. This is streaming live done correctly.
I don't know about that correctly.
I disagree with that.
You're here.
So. The other thing.
I'm here because of Tim Dillon and because I'm drunk.
I'm trying to help Joe succeed, and I feel like he can meet a lot of interesting people on this app and just grow his brand because he's had a real rough time the last year, and we're just trying to help him.
The other thing that we want to do is we want the business to be based on direct monetization for creators. And so like subscriptions, tipping, one-off events, things like that. We want to build that in sooner rather than later so that people can just get paid directly for being here.
You get paid? What?
Yeah, that's what we want to build in, the ability for you to like set up a club and people can subscribe to it and only the members can be in your rooms, or for people to do like tipping or to do ticketed events, or some like brand sponsorships are happening organically, but we'd rather do that than build a business based on advertising.
Some OnlyFans type shit, like people are gonna talk dirty.
But Joe, Paul, excuse me if I'm speaking out of turn.
No, never, of course.
I have been able to monetize on the app, Joe, and Paul, I don't know if you know about this, but this has now become my full-time job.
What?
No, seriously?
Is being here on Clubhouse.
That's amazing.
So,
I didn't know that.
Paul's like, what?
That's fantastic.
I know, we'll have to talk about it.
What are you doing?
So, okay, Joe, remember how I was just telling you about the stand-up shows?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know the brand Overheard LA, Overheard New York? Okay, if you look up their account,
she just got paid to say that.
Essentially a meme account.
Did you just get paid to say that?
They're cash apping me right now.
She basically tricked you into Clubhouse, and then she dropped an ad right in the middle. everybody go and block overheard. By the way, that's what I do on
Taylor, please
that's
write
what
about
I
us.
sometimes do on Twitter. When Twitter puts too many sponsored, ads in my feed, I just start blocking them because I just want to get them out of my feed. But I think it's having the opposite effect of what Twitter intended. So just be careful, Leah. That's all I'm saying.
Oh well, I'm just trying to thank you, Naval. I appreciate it. I just wanted to tell Joe how we were able to monetize. So through the stand-up show that we were doing, they contacted us and saw the show that we were doing. And at the time, we were just having comedians put their Venmo, their Cash App, their PayPal in their bio so that strangers from around the world could tip them. So people made anywhere from like $100 fine to like $500, which is actually pretty good for doing 8 to 10 minutes of comedy from the comfort of your own bed. And then Overheard came in and started just paying the comics directly, which was awesome. And Joe, most people haven't really been able to tour right now. I mean, I just like a month ago featured for Russell Peters, but that's the first time I worked in almost a year. And so, I mean, I want to come out to Austin too and do some shows, but LA is shut down. New York is shut down. So it was so great to be able to create opportunities for other comedians during this time. And now other brands want to sponsor the show. And now we're trying to do a Seder on Passover, and we're trying to secure a brand right now that would be so fun for a Passover Seder and just get a bunch of people together. But a lot of people are trying to come on and monetize, just like how you have, 3 or 4 sponsors come onto your podcast and monetize that way. It's the same thing on here.
Interesting. So the possibilities are endless.
Yes. Oh, yes. Joe, when are you going to have me on your podcast?
Whoa, that's a little needy.
Just kidding.
That seems a little needy.
It's more than needy.
Bad move.
Sorry, Joe.
We've been friends forever.
I'll pull back.
Do me like that. For people who don't know, Leah is related to Hedy Lamarr, which is really interesting. And the reason why I had a bit about women inventors, and that's how she introduced herself to me. Because she told me, what is Hedy Lamarr's your grandmother or something? Great aunt? What is she? Cousin?
Yeah. So she's a Keisler and I'm a Keisler. Her last name isn't even actually Lamar. Neither is mine. Shocker.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's Goldman. Welcome to Judaism. And
someone just texted me, will Joe interview the president of Rwanda? Like I have some.
I didn't interview Trump. Why would I interview the president of Rwanda?
By the way, that's the $1 billion question. When does Donald Trump show up on this app?
No. On this? Or this feed, or
where is
on
he
my
on Clubhouse?
Podcast?
No, on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Is he allowed on here?
Silence.
Paul
just left the room.
Our community guidelines have rules against the spreading of misinformation or hate speech or anything related to that. And if he violated that, then he would not be allowed on here.
That's a weird way of answering a question.
Hold on, yeah. How do you define misinformation? Like if 2 of us disagree, who's misinforming?
I don't think that's a simple answer.
Oh, you're nervous as fuck, bro.
That's the problem. No, that's the problem. That is a fundamental issue. Yeah.
You went into full panic mode. There's a lot of pausing. That's hilarious.
I mean, look, Paul's my friend, but I'm going to hold his feet to the fire because these are the important questions, and he's going to have to figure them out because it's going to happen.
You should have him on and Bill Maher at the same time.
The fact checking is how they're going to fetter these conversations for sure.
Yeah, what are we going to do? Have a fact checker like always on who's going to jump in? No, I mean, people are just going to say what they're going to say, and the listener will have to figure out what's real and what's not. That's just how the world works. Nobody knows in advance what the truth is. If we knew that, then we wouldn't even need to talk.
Someone's going to come up with an alternative version of this called Fettered, and it's going to be like the parlor of Clubhouse. But it's all like definitely through a filter. Like, we're good. You can do this. You can say what's important.
Paul Naval, you think this is a competitor to podcasting or complementary to podcasting?
It's complementary. It's like, think about how Twitter was to blogging. I think
that's how I view
Clubhouse
it,
to podcasting same way. Yeah.
But it killed blogging. Twitter killed blogging.
No, blogging is alive and well. In fact, blogs get their distributions through Twitter. It's just that Twitter made it so much easier to create content, allowed everybody to participate and to have conversations around blogs, and that's what Clubhouse does. So I do think Clubhouse will be bigger, but like I find higher quality content on blogs than I do on Twitter, but I find the blogs through Twitter. So the same way for long form, high quality content, I'm probably going to go to podcasts, but I'm going to find them and get to know the speakers through Clubhouse. Plus, it's a different thing. Very good.
No, I was going to say that it definitely provides an avenue for people to find out about blogs. But wouldn't you agree that a lot of people who used to write blogs now just tweet?
It's true. I'm guilty of that as well. Yeah,
I think
it's
that's
just
true.
easier. You lower the barrier to entry, you make it more convenient. It's true, but I think it's not an either or. Like, look, Twitter is one of the least innovated on products of all time, right? And maybe that's by design. They got it perfect the first time, maybe. But it's pretty easy for Twitter to have added blogs. Like, you can now see they're going after Substack, for example. They've announced that, right? So I think all you have to do here is hit save on a conversation, and it becomes a podcast. That said, the quality level probably isn't going to be there because we're riffing extemporaneously. We're not prepped for this at all. And there's not like a thoughtful topic. So there's just something magical to live content, and people want to consume it live. And that's mostly in politics and news and sports. And that's probably going to be the same thing in Clubhouse, or to form new connections. That is one unique thing about this app. On Twitter, maybe you can meet new people, but you can't really get to know them. Clubhouse is the only social app I've seen where you can meet new people and get to know them almost as well as you could in real life, right? It's like a cocktail party interaction. That would be happening. It's like, Joe, you and I aren't like friends. We don't really talk outside of the app. It's just you call me up randomly one day and I ramble to you about Clubhouse, right? But right here, we're spending time in a way that I don't think we would outside of Clubhouse. We couldn't do this. Podcast is too stiff, right? It's too rare. Whereas you can randomly stumble across people in Clubhouse and get to know them. And that's a whole new interaction pattern.
Well, but it has a real downside, though. And the comparison isn't to podcasts, but it's like a cocktail party conversation from hell, because with all of the spectators, the likelihood that you're getting, the candid person on the other side is pretty low. And so you think you get to know them, maybe you get to know a part of them, but it's deceptive. It feels like the seven of us here on the stage are having an intimate conversation, but what are the chances that we would say all the same things, if there weren't 8,000 people listening?
Sure, that's true. I mean, look, the internet is all about one-to-many or many-to-many communication. One-on-one communication still happens, like on Signal or WhatsApp or whatever, but that's much rarer. Now, everyone's a performer, right? Everyone's on stage all the time. And so you're never going to get a lot of truth. But at the same time, it's better than nothing. But as an aside, Brett, I just noticed that, like, your view in the world
it's also,
is like
I remember the first time I saw someone post something on...
Sorry. Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I remember the first time I saw someone post something on someone's Facebook wall that felt like it should have been a private one-on-one conversation. It felt really strange, and it kind of quickly became the norm. So I think communication norms change quite a bit over time when you have technology that can lower the friction to these sorts of things.
There's 8,000 people in here. Joe, you made the app. You upgraded from 7 to 8.
I thought it was only 7. You could only get 7.
No, maybe the team changed it in real time.
Yeah, I think your team is cranky in the background.
No, so here's another way of thinking about it is I think a lot of times social products allow you to do things that you would like to do in real life but can't. Like Tinder lets you date without getting rejected, and like Amazon lets you pick up any product from the store and instantly see 10,000 reviews on it. And so we try and make it so that you can do things that might seem rude to do in the real world, and they're fine here. Like we encourage people to ghost and just like leave without saying anything, which Naval is a champ at doing here. Or like,
one thing I'm waiting for is I want to see real-time audience reactions, right? Like those that's impossible to get in the real world.
The fact that you don't have them, I think the fact that you don't have them can be powerful.
It's true. I mean, if we saw it in real time, it would guide you a certain way, but it would still be interesting to see. I mean, something that's just not possible in the real world. I guess there's applause, right, and booing, but those are pretty extreme cases.
Yeah.
But like if you're a comedian, that's what you're looking for, right? Comedians get up and do stand-up to get the feedback, to know what the audience wants. That's how they hone their craft.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Like you need to be able to read the room. So I think there are interesting ways to do that. Or like the fact that you can just be a fly on the wall and listen to conversations. That's like going to a party and just putting your hands over your ears, which would be totally rude. Or like the fact that you can look at all the other rooms that are happening while you're listening. That's like being at a party and talking with someone and staring over their shoulder the whole time to see if there's a more interesting conversation. Totally rude in the real world, but we try and make it so you can do stuff like that, and it just makes it feel lighter weight,
Do you anticipate this eventually evolving into sort of a more intimate version of this, like what we're doing now, to me, is similar to Zoom conversations without the video. Like, the problem is people accidentally talk over each other. You want to say something, but other people are talking. Like, it lacks the intimacy of being in a room with someone in real time. But as virtual reality and augmented reality improve, do you think that something like this can be, I mean, what would really be fascinating is to actually, like, if you could scan yourself and have a virtual reality conversation with a person, whether it's through, the HTC Vive or whatever, where you're in a room where you really see the person and it mimics all the social cues and all of the things that make being around a person having a conversation so much more satisfying.
Well, you know what's actually kind of crazy? I think you can make an argument that voice only is the most intimate medium, because you have all the intonation, inflection, and fidelity, and tone, and bids and asks, but you don't have any of the anxiety of video. You don't have to worry about what you look like. You don't have to worry about how messy your house is. You don't have to worry about body language. And so people lie down on their beds and they stare at the ceiling, almost like you're at a therapist's office, and you just talk for hours and hours, and you're really sincere, and you can have
that sounds to me like a guy who's trying to sell Clubhouse hard.
No, but hold on. But look at the evidence. When given the choice, when given the choice in social, people actually prefer to strip it down to its barest essentials. Like, you could have Twitter and Facebook right now today with 3D graphics, or at least a sense of location or space, or have better photos of you, but they don't. Like, Twitter doesn't even let you add more than one photo. Twitter doesn't let you spatially position yourself. Twitter doesn't let you have like real-time conversations, right? Because people want to just bare minimum focus on social. They care about the socialization, not about all the other pieces.
Yeah, but this is a conversation. That's not a valid parallel. This is a conversation.
Video is a bug, man. It's not a feature. Like, I don't want to see everybody in this room's head moving around, right? That's like too much information.
But that's video. What I'm talking about is augmented reality or virtual reality, where you literally feel like you're in the room with the person, like a virtual reality video game.
The technology there is so far away, and it's so heavyweight. Like, do you want to strap a rig onto your head right now and walk around your room? It's too much.
Have you ever used Oculus?
Yeah, I have both the Quest 1 and Quest 2.
It's a headset.
Yeah,
it's not that big a deal.
Nobody uses it twice. That's the kind of product you put on once. You're like, holy shit,
what
this is amazing.
What are you talking about?
Who uses Oculus more than once? That thing has not taken off.
It's nonsense. I use it all the
time. You're
a weirdo.
Studio. You're a weirdo.
No!
You're a weirdo.
My kids, when they come to my studio, the first thing they do is run over and grab the Oculus and start playing games on it. It's awesome.
Really?
Yes.
You're the first person I've heard that for.
That's not true.
I get no repeat value out of it. The thing gives me a headache. The games are repetitive and lame.
Some people like jazz. Some people think it sucks. Listen,
it hasn't taken off as a product. It had the numbers or the evidence. It hasn't taken off as a product. I'm not saying it won't. I'm a big believer in VR AR, but I think it's got a lot of problems. It's still quite a ways from prime time.
Don't you remember when VR was something that was like really thought of as being the future? You remember that? You remember when people thought about?
Oh no,
VR,
it still is.
Someday,
it still is.
I think it still is. It's just a ways off.
Right, but it's not quite there yet. But if you get into games, like what's the game where you have the wands and you whack at the cubes that are coming your way? You know what I'm talking about? There's like a few of these games that like actually provide you with a cardio workout. Like there's some amazing boxing games where it kind of feels like you're boxing some cartoon guy, and they're really fun, and you get a workout while you're doing them. There's games where you walk along a plank suspended in between two buildings, and it's really kind of a freak out. You look below you, and it seems like, kind of a cartoonish pixelated version of what it would look like if you were on a balancing beam in between two buildings. Like, they're interesting. And I think if we could get it down to you scan yourself and you're in a room with someone and you just meet a random stranger and have a conversation with them, and that's who they actually are, and you get to see their actual face, it would be more intimate than what we're doing right now. Not that I'm saying
I'm not denying that. Yeah. No, Ready Player One, that vision when it comes to real life will be far more compelling. That's we're quite a long ways from it. Technology is not there yet.
I think there are some cases. I think there are some cases where you want to emulate the real world, and there's some cases where you can do better than the real world. And I think it would be more intimate in some ways, but I also think it would introduce anxiety around like body language and other stuff like that. And you can't multitask. So you couldn't do it while you're driving, while you're running, while you're in bed at night, while you're doing other stuff. And so there are pros and cons to it.
Yeah, I think I agree with Paul here in a sense that the sweet spot is we are having an intimate conversation, with we're not projecting to an audience. We're talking in a regular tone of voice right into each other's ears, and that is intimate. And it does mean that you can multitask. But on the flip side, Clubhouse creates a huge problem, at least in my life, which is because it's not asynchronous. It interrupts my other activities arbitrarily. I may walk into a room like this one, have the bandwidth to sit down and talk to you all, and then something may happen here at home, and I'm trying to figure out whether I need to leave the room or how that's going to work. And I don't, frankly, I haven't worked it out. I don't know if this is a problem for other people who use the app, but the fact that things are happening when they're happening and that the other people in your life are completely unaware of what's going on makes it hard to interface with.
Yeah. Meanwhile, while this is happening, your brother is texting me, telling me to get off of it.
What?
Brother Eric,
Are you serious?
He's texting me right now.
He's jealous.
Eric's
jealous.
in
He's
trouble.
He's jealous. He's not here.
I'm kind of kidding because I was telling him to get off of it, and now he's saying, he said, you convinced me to get off it, and Tim convinced you to get on it, and Tim could never convince me with your argument. Oh my goodness, it's so confusing. It's like two mirrors facing each other. It goes on forever. What is reality?
Smoke some DMT, man. Smoke some DMT.
What are we doing here? What are we doing? Listen, I can
Wasting
only do
time
this
till
for
we
so
die.
long. I have to get home, and
Yeah.
I have children to talk to and dinner to make.
I just want to remind, if everyone's happy with Joe coming on, just follow Tim Dillon on Clubhouse. Thank you.
Yeah, and Paul,
Done.
Get me my name. Get me my real name, bro.
Okay. Yeah, I'll
Thank you.
I already sent a note.
Joe, we're holding out for Joe.
No,
Joe is
Naval.
the
I
name
want
we
my
want.
actual name. There's a lot of Joes. I want Joe Rogan.
I want the
Just
letter.
like Joe
Christ,
Rogan.
I want
Joe.
half of the letter J. I want it to be the shortest possible
Naval,
name.
you're so silly, Naval.
Capital J. He's just he's holding up for capital J.
It was nice to be here. It was nice to talk to all of you. Naval, nice to talk to you. Thanks for the invite. Lex, I love you. Brett, I love you too.
Love you too, brother.
Paul, it was very nice to meet you
Oh my
through
God.
this application
Why
you
don't you love
created.
me?
I love you too. Leah, you know I love you.
Love you, Joe.
And you guys are awesome. And
Love
I'm
you,
gonna
Joe.
Get the fuck out of here.
Great to see you here.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Stay
Yay.
warm.
See you soon, Joe. Love you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.